I'd like to welcome Ravi and Puneet. They're going to be here talking about the Dell Sonicwall, giving us a bit of a run through on that, and then that's going to be followed up by David Caddick over here and Michael Dunn running through VDIs and a few other software relative to BYOD and BYOT, BYO, whatever else you want to call it.
Choose your own technology, all those.
All of them. So over to Puneet. Do you want to use this? You keep talking and I'll turn it on.
The second one down is the master volume, Andrew. Second from the top.
Coffee orders? Morning, everyone. Thanks for coming in today and having us an opportunity to present in front of you. I'll just move quickly in a minute from the slide over. My name is Puneet Gupta. I look after the Dell Sonicwall side of business within Dell. I've been with Dell for the last 3+ years now and working on a security solution for the last 1 year. I manage 4 territories that includes Victoria, South Australia, WA and Tasmania. Along with me is my colleague Ravi, who is my technical engineer on the Dell security solutions. We do offer solutions right from the cloud security to the endpoint as well. But today we'll be focusing more on the network firewall security, secure remote access solutions, which is more for a BYOD situation, and then just quickly touch upon the email security and the identity access management solution as well. Most of the schools over here, if they're interested based on your unique environment that you have and like discuss further one-on-one, we are here available for the rest of the day, and we'll leave our contact details behind so we can actually have one-on-one sessions with you. Later on, we can come and visit your schools and have the discussions. If you're looking at any kind of proof of concepts or trial that needs to be done as well, we're more than happy to organize a unit that can actually be brought into your environment, put the unit there, show you how it exactly works and how it secures the environment. Alright, without further ado, I'll just quickly give you a brief introduction. So obviously probably some of the schools will be dealing with Dell already, or may not be dealing with Dell today, but would be keen to proceed with our solutions. Just to give you where we all sit in that Dell structure. So you must be familiar with obviously Dell being selling laptop, PCs, servers, storage, and those. Dell recently have been acquiring a lot of companies that includes companies like Sonicwall, Case, Aperture, and Quest. All these companies are actually sitting into a Dell software group within our Dell company. It just made simple for us to actually organize those acquisitions and still offer the solutions that they've been offering, and then combine that with a total solution with our hardware and other services solutions that we have. So in this slide you can see the solution that we're talking about here probably could be the data center or your endpoint. You may purchase Windows Server, storage, and those kind of those products. Followed by you intend to do obviously your information management, which is where you actually churn your data into meaningful information. So you need actually certain tools to help you get that information. So we provide the solution in that space. Obviously we have our hardware devices, the endpoint, and we help connect any information through the network from those endpoint devices securely in your environment. Now everything that ties for each of these silos is the security. That's a very key element. So we have offerings in every single aspect of this technology here, and some offerings will be more relevant to your organizations today. Some may not be because it's a commercial organization as well. They have certain information that we may be looking at, certain application development, testing in those environments as well. Any questions on the slide so far? With this, I'll just hand over to Ravi, who will be talking more technical today. And I believe this is a more technical crowd here. How many are technical and how many are business here? Technical? Right. It's yours.
Yeah, great, thanks. Good afternoon. At last, you're alive. Good, good, good. Yes, I am the technical person. I just want to bring this up. This is just a snapshot I want to show everybody. You may or may not be aware of what's going on in the old side world right now. This is all statistics pulled from our Dell grid. So all of these have gone through our grid. We can identify every one of these. The biggest ones here for you to actually be and go, ooh, is this one, applications. That's a very large number. I'm not even going to attempt to say it. But the amount of applications written today, all demanding internet access, they all create some kind of vulnerability within a network. So you can have a school-specific application running. If it goes out to the internet, what is it compromising? Now, it's always an interesting scenario when it comes to security and developers, because developers want it to work. Security guys want it to be secure, and never the two shall meet in the middle. So we have to find a way of securing their application while we secure our network as well. How we can do that is obviously next generation firewalls. We need to identify what the application is. Is it good? Is it bad? We need to categorize it. Now, who's heard of bitcoins? How many of you have got bitcoins?
Have you?
I've got a bitcoin. One bitcoin. Because anyway, that's not important. There is a statistic which I should put up here. 35% of the people who use the most bitcoins are under the age of 17. Now, for those of you who don't know what a bitcoin is, it's a virtual currency that you can actually gain by doing either uploading movies or supplying information from networks, etc. And you're given all these credits. Now, these coins are actually used to buy physical things. So you can use your bitcoins, and you can actually go and buy, say, an iPod, for example. And all that comes from the fact that you've just taken some information that costs nothing, given it to someone else who knows exactly what they're going to do with it, and then you've gotten something actual physically in your hand as a reward for it. Yeah. Now, schools are quite a decent-sized target for any kind of hackers. Now, you may think, oh, well, it's only student information. However, in the back end, you've got the parents' information there as well. But it's not just about your current students, it's how many years of this information do you keep. So an average school of 1,000 students, for example, will have, say, maybe 15,000 entries of information. Each one of those is worth $10 to a hacker. So you can imagine $150,000 just for someone to compromise your network. Yeah, may mean nothing to you. You may not get an attack at home, or you may not have your ID stolen or anything like that. However, that information is now in the world, and someone's making money from it. Yeah. Fake AV. Now, a lot of people at home, you know, you're going to any website, and suddenly there's this little pop-up that comes up that says, we've detected a virus. Number one, how can it detect a virus just by going to a website? But no one else will realize this. You'll say, yeah, fine, scan and remove. It's not scanning, it's not removing, it's just implanting a bit of malware in there, making a call home. Yeah, and it's now literally controlling your machine. Now, you may or may not be aware of that, but this is how a DDoS attack actually forms. So it goes out there, it takes a lot of good machines with good reputations, and then it targets an industry, for example. So your machine, unwittingly, on the net, you haven't touched it, but it's sending out a 1 meg file. Now, a 1 meg file is quite small, so no one ever notices it. But if you've got 100,000 or 200,000 of these machines targeting the one device, it will fall over at some stage. So you have to have a look at security all over the place. Yeah, you've got to make sure your reputation stays good, and you've got to make sure that whatever you're doing is within a safe environment. We won't go with the Trojans. Zero-day exploits, that's one of my favorite ones. So zero-day exploits, we've actually had 7 over the past year that we've actually protected before they were actually found. Yeah, and you're going to say, how the hell can you do that? Easy. All we do is, whenever we look at a vulnerability, we don't just write a specific signature for that one vulnerability. We encompass quite a few little derivatives of that. So this is why we picked up 7 exploits. We actually stop those before they were actually used in a bad way. So we've got all this technology, we've got thousands of people looking at all this honeypots, looking at all this technology and saying, right, we know how to stop this. Now, these are some of the key features that I like to talk about. Now, the biggest one for me around schools is content filtering. Now, a lot of people say, right, we're with BigSmart, we have NetSpace. I'm assuming you have NetSpace? Yeah. Everybody happy with NetSpace? Perfect audience. Right, so, NetSpace, fantastic opportunity in theory. And as you're well aware. So you guys are paying for a certain amount of pipe with an upstream proxy, all this wonderful good stuff that they can give you on paper. However, what does that mean for your network? It's a little bit slow, isn't it? Just slightly, yeah. So again, common complaint. Look, and I understand why they provide the service. It does save a hell of a lot of money in the long term. However, to make it quite usable for a school, you need some way of identifying what's going through. Now, a proxy is always good, but it's upstream, so everything going out of your gateway has to hit the proxy before it's stopped. There's no point then. Yeah, you need something on your gateway. So what you can do now is with our firewalls, we actually we can look at everything that's going through before it gets onto the BigSmart network. So that way only good traffic is going up there, and we're stopping all the bad stuff right at the gateway. Okay? So that's one of the key features of why we've been so successful in schools. I've literally on the way down here, I stopped into one of my clients and I said, how's it going with the Sonicwall? He goes, look at our stats. And from the day he put it in, you can see the actual graph dropped about 40%. He said, we have control, we have the power back. You know, the students have no idea who they're messing with. I was like, good luck with that. This is all great. And as you know, students find ways around everything. So one of the things that you can't really fight against without, say, a Sonicwall, for example, is an anonymous proxy. So anonymous proxy, you can just log into it, you can create an account, you can go out to anywhere in the world, including that wonderful application, Facebook, and bring all that information in-house, including Candy Crush, which has got so many little exploits in it, it's ridiculous. However, we can see all of that, we can block it, we can block all anonymous proxy traffic, and the students will be like, well, we can't get to it now, so what can we do now? We have to go back and do some studying now. Can't go play games all day. So these are one of the key features, content filtering. The other thing is reporting. Now, I know a lot of you, when you go and ask for a report from NetSpace, it takes, 12 hours? And then some more? Okay, maybe a day? So it takes a while to get the reports in. Ours can give you real-time reporting based on, if you have Active Directory, it can give you a student breakdown, what the actual student's looking at. Yeah, so you can actually call that particular student into the principal's office and say, why have you been going to these sites? Or just ping in an email and say, please don't do that again. We know exactly where you're going. So all of these things will give you back the power to actually control and understand your duty of care when it comes to that student in your environment. Now this is one of my favorites, because there's a lot of people here who say, right, I've got an IPS, great. What can that tell you? Anybody? What's an IPS tell you? Tells you if you've had an attack. Doesn't tell you you've prevented it. Tells you if it's, hey look, you've just been attacked. We tried to stop it, but we got to it too late. However, next generation, we look at all of these things, but we correlate them together with reputation. Where is this attack coming from? Because there's a lot of false positives out there. It could be a legitimate site. In this case, most of the sites will be categorized already, most of the traffic from certain areas, and I won't pick at any one country at all, but most of the traffic coming from a particular country, you can say, right, 80% of that is going to be attacking my network. There is no reason for that traffic to come to my network. Let's block it now. All of this is done behind the scenes, so you don't, as an administrator, you don't actually have to say, right, let me look at these logs constantly. You can set it up to email you to say, hey, I have been attacked, but at the end of the day, you'll be just wanting to make sure that your network is safe. In our cloud, we will look at everything that's there. Yeah, we will say, right, there is an attack coming down from XYZ country. Let's put a little signature in our cloud. Our firewalls will get this signature, update it, stop straight away. You as an administrator will be on your daily work. So what is a next generation firewall? Does anybody have, what's your understanding of next generation? Anybody? Anybody? Not NetSpace.
It's just layer 7, isn't it? Really?
Pretty much, but there's a bit more to it than just that as well. So next generation gives you, it's a traditional firewall anyway. It also gives you incorporated IPS/IDS functionality. One of the key criteria here as well is to be able to decrypt an SSL tunnel and inspect the traffic in there, because a lot of, sorry, I've got 5 minutes. So a lot of these devices out there, they will actually look at exploits that traditional firewalls cannot see, which is SSL traffic. So we can decrypt that. Application control, which means that all you need to do is have a look at the application. It gives you a nice visibility of what applications are good or bad on your network, and then you make that choice. So it's not just about, okay, we'll stop any kind of bad application. There is some business reasons why people would like Facebook and Twitter. Yeah? Do you allow it all, or do you just allow some components of it? So next generation firewalls can give you that granularity just to actually control a few bits and pieces. Yeah. So this is roughly how we go about doing it. So we can identify everything. We say, right, all this stuff's coming in. We've put policies in place in our firewall and see which one we want to actually stop. So we can block all the malware. We can block anything that we don't want on our network. So that's the power that we give with the next generation firewall. We can also prioritize. So for example, if you've got, like, the curriculum network needs, say, 50% of your current bandwidth, if you want to put all that traffic there, we can prioritize all of that. If you've got just standard HTTP requests to, like, websites that are allowed to for students to go out, we can put that as a lower priority during a certain specific time if we need to. Yeah, so it's all about managing what you have. And VicSmart and NetSpace have given you a nice big internet feed pretty much, but you need to be able to control it to make it work for you. Visualization. This is quite a nice part of a next generation firewall. So you can log into Box or log into reporting software, and they'll instantly tell you what's going on in your network. So you can have a look. And all of these here are broken down just purely by protocol. So you can say, okay, so why is there so much SSL traffic on my network? Have a look at that. You could find that someone's trying to just initiate so many SSL tunnels. And it could be to legitimate sites, or they could be just to wherever they want. So that's not part of your curriculum. Now, BYOD. I'll just finish off with a BYOD little statement here. How many of you are looking at trying to implement a BYOD solution? How many of you are looking at it and thinking, oh my God, it's too hard? Yeah. There is actually quite a number of ways you can tackle this. We actually like to look at the way from an outside-in perspective. So we want to look who's trying to come in, or who's bringing a laptop from what particular area. So yes, you've got a student bringing a laptop in. I want to know what's on that laptop. So can I identify what's on that laptop before I actually go and let it onto my network? Yeah, we can do that. If I then identify him, I say, right, what's he allowed to have access to? Because in different years, you can give them different policies. Yeah? And then say, right, okay, he's allowed to go in now. Is his machine patched? Because patch management is a key, one of the keys here. Oh, and also when. We can lock it down as well. We can actually say, right, they're only allowed on our school network between the hours of 8:30 and 4:30. And I'm getting pushed out now, so I shall just finish off with detecting endpoints. So we can actually detect type of endpoint you have. So if you've got a Mac environment, if you've got a PC environment, even if you've got an Android or iOS device, we can detect those and we can apply the relevant policies based on those as well. And unfortunately, I think I've run out of time, but I'm happy to have a chat with you about the visualization. And just before I go, look, we have one in Dell Black as well now.
Yeah, so that's the 6th generation firewall we're talking about, which has the fiber ports and the copper ports as well. So you don't have to invest into two separate, routers or switches. Yes.
Regarding the identity, currently there is no correlation between the NetSpace users and the Active Directory users.
Yeah.
How you are actually...
So that will depend mainly on the school itself. So if the school's implemented an Active Directory solution so they can actually group their students together, we integrate with that. We don't integrate with NetSpace. So everything is per school is with perimeter or everything around the school.
What's the cost of one of these units?
Millions.
And they start actually, based on the environment. We have firewalls starting from $1,000 and goes up to $500,000. But based on your environment, depending on the size, we don't really size or license our product based on number of users, but the kind of traffic it's going to hit and hold the traffic. In the general, say, a standard school size of, say, 1,200 students, maybe probably 100, 150 staff, we're looking at around a model which is for 4,600 or 5,600. That will be costing you roughly around, one model will cost, say, for 3-year subscription, $10,000. And the 5,600 will be coming roughly around $15,000 to $20,000 with high availability and all the options including
3 years.
3 years.
3 years, yeah. So it's not an expensive solution at all. That's the reason why schools are going, because what you're spending today with regards to some other competitive products out there, some of the schools are literally paying $20,000 per year just to keep that system up and running. That's the only, yes.
What about smaller options, say for a school with, say, 200 kids on a 10 meg connection?
Sorry, repeat that again.
Smaller schools,
Yes.
say 200 kids, but with on a 10 meg connection, what's the price we'll be looking at there?
You'll be looking at a smaller unit. It'll be M250. That will be roughly under $5,000.